Chat, I have, not to alarm anybody, I think we may have entered a weird new paradoxical timeline. A mostly positive IGN article about Overwatch 2, and the tweet that attached says, after years of struggle, Blizzard Entertainment has found itself in uncharted territory. Overwatch players are having fun again. Link to this article, same title. Which, by the way, I know, like, making a positive Overwatch title is probably one of the hardest things for someone in the gaming space to make, but I appreciate the effort. After years of struggle, Blizzard Entertainment has found itself in uncharted territory. Overwatch players are having fun again. The Overwatch team knows failure well. Its massive launch in 2016, we're starting with, wow, that's crazy. Positive article knows failure well, was eventually dampened by the divisive balance decisions. What is that link to? Self-healing out of context. Oh my god. Holy shit. This is the most IGN thing I've ever seen. The self-healing thing is actually good. It ended up being one of the few balance decisions that was really good. That's funny that links to it. A disastrous launch for Overwatch 2 and a sea of negative reviews, the cancellation of PvE content, the list goes on. As each controversy was usually only followed by another, fans began to wonder if Blizzard would ever regain its footing, or if its glory days of Overwatch were left in 2018. Following an invasion of fundamental changes, fans have determined Overwatch 2 is set up to not only for the best lineup of content it's seen in years, but it might be in the best state it's ever been. I wonder who said something about that. I wonder who said something about that back here the other day. And then Trap made a TikTok about it. People were like, how much are they paying you? How much are they paying you? To all agents of Overwatch, on February 12th, 2025, game director Aaron Keller assembled the Overwatch team to debut an Overwatch 2 spotlight presentation that was said to explore what the future holds. With years of painful decisions in the rearview mirror, fans were split between fear and cautious optimism, leaving little room for excitement as it became clear this was a make-or-break moment for Blizzard. What followed was a 34-minute breakdown that included a detailed content release schedule, copious amounts of changes players have been pleading to see implemented for years, and most importantly, transparency. So, can I tell you something? A little fun facts, by the way, chat. I've been told by this by people like outside of our little gaming bubble. Like, we're talking like extended gaming, like way the out there. Apparently that clip of me and Aaron playing Overwatch at Spotlight, me playing with him watching, went omega viral in so many other places. Like, not just my tweet, but like other people like clipping the same tweet and like making not my tweet, TikTok, clipping the TikTok and like doing their own version of it or putting it in different places. And to a lot of people, I guess that was a big moment. Because no one had really seen Aaron act that way before and kind of saw the passion and the fun and the great, how the love the guy has for the game. And I think in their words, changed their mind about it. And I was like, damn, that's actually kind of crazy. So I won't lie, that Spotlight did numbers for them. And if only they listened on a couple other things, like on like cinematics or an anime or whatever, like some kind of big cultural shift thing, I think they'd be in the driver's seat. Continue though. Where false, nigh unreachable promises plagued years past, Overwatch 2's 2025 outline felt attainable. Damage and support heroes Freya and Aqua made their debut there, as did Stadium, a revolutionary third-person competitive mode poised to shake up the tandem of standard matches. Loot boxes, the controversial monetization tactic left behind when the original Overwatch was shuttered in 2022, were back with tweaks that made them more rewarding without a tide of real-world money. I made a video about this as well, back here, opening 100 loot boxes. It was a little bit of clickbaity because I could only get to 87, but the amount of comments on that saying how much money did you spend? A little bit concerning because nobody knows that they're actually free rewards. And Blizzard even managed to further detail its plan to bring back 6v6. It was a weighty list of tangible additions and more content Overwatch players had seen since the launch of Overwatch 2, and most of it would be added within only a few months. I don't know why a Samito tweet is on here. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun playing 66 Perk Watch today. It makes me feel happy to say Overwatch has finally found the light on this path. Post-ban, 66 Open Queue Perk Watch is the best state the game's been in since 2020. Looks like hero shooters will stay winning. I don't know why they chose a Sam post. Maybe because he's always been super critical of the game. Maybe that's why. But I mean, there's an echoing sentiment of the same tweet. Now in April, loot boxes, Freya, Stadium, classic balance modes, and more have been executed on Blizzard's mission to turn the page to a new chapter of Overwatch. It has been a much-needed break from the monotony and samey seasonal content releases, coupled with exceeded expectations for those who were justifiably worried the hero shooter would never be seen in a positive light again. There's debate among what triggered such a radical change in strategy, but there is no denying Overwatch 2 is currently backed by a team that wants to see it succeed. This is a different Blizzard. Agreed. We all know we know what the debate is. Everyone says it's Rivals, and don't get me wrong, Rivals is the greatest thing to ever happen to Overwatch. That's not why Stadium was made, though. Aaron came on my stream and said on stream that they had been working on it since before the launch of Overwatch 2. He said about August of 2022. Overwatch 2 launched on October 4th, 2022. So before Overwatch 2 even launched is when they started Stadium. So that part was not Rivals. Third person? Maybe. Hero bans? Absolutely. Them actually putting money into marketing dollars? You know what? Dude, there's an ad. There's a YouTube ad and a Twitch ad. Apparently I'm in it. Have you guys seen it? The ad that I'm in from Stadium, or not Stadium, from Spotlight, they actually are spending marketing dollars on the game and actually spending money to get people's attention. Actually kind of insane. I saw they started doing sponsoring streamer stuff again. They're spending money on YouTube ads, Twitch ads. I haven't seen like Twitter or anything like that, but like, you know what I mean? Like they're actually putting stuff out there. There's a train station in Shibuya, in Japan. Yeah, does someone have a link to the Shibuya ad? I'll show it on stream. They have a whole wall advertising Doki Watch. If you don't know, Overwatch is huge in Japan. You know, Fuzz is a better promoter than John Cena, confirmed. That was the dumbest thing of all goddamn time. Like, we all know that, right? Like, that was so stupid. That was like the most corporate executive thing I'd ever seen. Like, some 60-year-old executive was like, you know what, we could really get this game going? Kids like John Cena, right? He didn't even do anything with the game. He literally just appeared in a 30-second video, and that's it. Like, what the is that? They pulled themselves out of the gutter with this one. Reddit user Right Entertainer said regarding to the Overwatch 2 spotlight. Super excited for the future of Overwatch 2 for the first time in, well, ever. Experience tranquility through ups and downs. It has been about 7 years since Overwatch was the titan fans originally fell in love with. Even with the onslaught of kept promises bombarding players for both season 15 and 16, Overwatch 2's current season, your average fan has every reason to believe the other shoe could drop at any moment. And it's been that way since February, yet Blizzard is charging forward. The decisions of Aaron and the team have led the game to a healthy state of growth and competition. I think that deserves praise. Let's be honest, Overwatch 2's development history has been troubled. A popular post from Reddit user Imperial Viking said, why do I recognize that name? I feel like that's a chatter that's here sometimes. When PvE was canceled, we all thought it was the end. Now comes season 15. Overwatch has turned the corner and the future is looking super bright. They continued, all in all, I think it goes without saying that the devs have been really hitting it out of the park recently. People calling them lazy is just plain wrong. There are, of course, still issues with Overwatch, and there always will be. But the decisions of Aaron and the team have led the game to a healthy state of growth and competition. I think that deserves praise. Reddit, Discord, X, Twitter, on these platforms, there has been a vibe shift on every platform where people can talk about Overwatch. Posts praising Stadium are all too likely to show up on fans' feeds, as are comments from players thrilled Season 16 introduced competitive hero bans. This is a long-requested feature finally made its proper debut last week, essentially giving players the option to never play with or against pesky heroes like Sombra ever again if they don't want to. Of course, Blizzard is only just lifting off when it comes to the journey to rebuild and the goodwill it's lost over the years. Absolutely, that is 100% true. They've been at it for a long time, but unfortunately this stuff takes years, which sucks, but that's the truth. Overwatch fans surely won't let it forget the damage it's done, but the change in attitude is undeniable. Content creator Neandra wrote, "Let's talk about the state of Overwatch 2 video, examined the hero shooter with a fine-tooth comb last summer. Remains cautious but tells us they feel pretty good about where things are at now. They believe fans are starting to come around too, and thanks to a few key additions. I think a particularly critical player base is what to be somewhat expected with games that try to be forever a game and are part of your daily routine," they explain. "I think the Overwatch community is getting happier." Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, that's like a year old, but I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm still keeping my prediction. We're on month 4. For 6 months, we have 2 months to go. I think in 2 months, there's going to be a big influx. Within the next 2 months, there'll be a big influx of curious Rivals players who are going to be upset with that game, or that game's going to up, or they're going to get tired of it, and they're going to be like, I want to try Overwatch. I mean, it happened today. I've been playing Overwatch today. I'd say I saw 40 different people say, hey, I'm going to try Overwatch for the first time, or I'm trying Overwatch for the first time since 2017. Any tips / how should I get into it / like, how do I get into it? Like, you know, along those lines. And I only ever see a giant influx like that if something like this is happening, or if there's like a major event. So granted, small pool of people to pull from, but just so you know. I wouldn't be surprised if ex-Overwatch players have curiously checked out the game again recently. Oh, see? It feels like the momentum of perks into Stadium and Freya has brought a lot of goodwill. Honestly, I think Freya is the least impactful of all of that. Not to be that guy, but I feel like most people don't give Freya right now. I haven't even seen like anyone talk about her. Yeah, sorry. Morale in the community felt really low during the release of Marvel Rivals and within its following month, especially since Overwatch didn't immediately respond with sweeping changes. Upon reflection, that was probably the correct move, as Marvel Rivals was having its own issues while Overwatch has released big changes. That was the correct move, and I remember talking about it way back then, and I got crucified for that. Man, it gets old, man. I wouldn't be surprised if ex-Overwatch players have curiously checked out the game again recently. Stadium has now established itself as a core component of Overwatch 2, but its importance does not stop at the fresh gameplay it brings to the 9-year-old hero shooter. A game mode as radically different as this has players engaging in good faith discussion about what could make it better. It will take time for the community to fully wrap its head around the value it could add to the free-to-play experience, but mostly they're just enjoying the ride, which is the correct way to do it. One clear point of criticism has revolved around the fact that Stadium lacks a quick play option. As a result, cross-play support. While it's barred groups of friends on different platforms from testing it out, its many character builds and synergies, most assumed a mode in its infancy would be fleshed out with more features in future seasons. That, along with Blizzard's usual reluctance to reveal its hand, is why it was so shocking to see concerns addressed just days after complaints emerged. True. They literally made a post about it, like on Twitter, on everywhere, saying like, hey, these are the complaints we've seen, like from you guys, and this is what we're doing about it. God, it's so nice to see this. One Reddit user commented after Blizzard promised to tackle highly requested features like crossplay. Click on it. Yeah. So this is like what they ended up putting out, was like Instagram, Twitter, stuff like this. Basically saying like, this is the feedback we've gotten. Here's the top 3 issues we've heard: lack of crossplay support, high lever rate, performance on older systems. And then they talked about what they were doing to address them, or if they were like big issues still on their radar. So people were big surprised at that. Literal immediate update on feedback they've been given, making no promises but being transparent about what the feedback is and how they intend to handle it. I really do love this direction of community communication, and they've been on for like the last year or so. I've said this for forever. I will continue to say it. The Overwatch community team is the best in gaming, and it's not close. They are extremely transparent. They're quick to respond. They always ask for feedback. They want to know what they can do better. And they always kind of seem like they're there to help, whether you're a streamer, whether you're an average player, whatever it is. That's generous. Okay, let me expand on that, because there are games that I would, now that you say that, probably you're right. That might be a bit of a stretch. I think for a AAA free-to-play game the size of Overwatch, it is the best. I think that there's smaller ones, smaller games, like I would think of like Warframe as an example, would probably be better, for sure. But I would also argue Warframe is probably a much smaller game than, say, Overwatch. It's a bad thing, just saying, like, in terms of how big the game is versus the community, versus like how many people they have working on it, I think Overwatch is definitely up there. When I said that, I compared in my mind to Apex, Valorant, Rivals, you know, like the juggernaut games. You know what I mean? Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, stuff like that. That's kind of what I thought about when I said that, right? Fortnite probably as well. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Fortnite, but I would be surprised if today Fortnite was better at it. I'd be very surprised. Does this mean Overwatch is back? Overwatch has been a black sheep in gaming for a while. A once great staple of the multiplayer world fell from grace and spent years finding new ways to fall further. That is the craziest sentence I've ever read. Spent years finding new ways to fall further. Renewed faith and interest in what it can be isn't proof that all wounds have been healed or that Overwatch 2 is now perfect, but it's a sign that it can claw its way back. While the momentum is there, many agree that there is one trump card Blizzard could play to get its community fully invested in the future of Overwatch: traditional story cinematics. These narrative tie-ins each amassed millions of views upon release, but were largely abandoned when Blizzard shifted its focus to the game itself. Still, considering it helped draw a connection between players and the characters that help hold the experience up, these videos remain one of the most desired, if not the most desired components fans hope will return. It feels like Overwatch has spent the last few years focusing on the game itself, which has been wonderful, don't get me wrong, but does mean the reach outside of it feels limited, which is true. Neandra added, Overwatch feels much like one very well-made PvP game, as opposed to a big multimedia franchise as it has the potential to be, which is a shame considering all the praise in the world building and lore it's gotten over the years. That still is true even from a year ago. Following Blizzard's February event, Overwatch has managed to jump up from being the most negatively reviewed game on Steam of all time to having mixed reaction from players. As the team continues to invest in additions like Stadium and the long-awaited return to 6v6, its consistency in the long term will be the key to determining if Blizzard is able to reclaim all of the ground it's lost. If the last few months are anything to go off of, it's absolutely doable. I think we've entered a new golden age of Overwatch. Hero shooter, content creator, and longtime Overwatch player. Oh, it's me! Wait, that's me! Recently said during a recent live stream. Wait, that's me. Wait, it's my Flash 2 vid. That's me! That's me! Hey, that's me! Overwatch is potentially in the best state it's ever been, and it's not even close. Better than the launch of Overwatch 2. Wait, that's a little bit misquoted. I said potentially better than the launch of Overwatch 2. Okay, better than the PvE missions came out. Oh, sorry. Oh no. Oh, I misread this. No, I did say this. Okay, I misread. I thought that was about my second half. Dare I say better than the Overwatch 1? Okay, this one said launch Overwatch 2. I was thinking it was Overwatch 2. Overwatch 1. I got them mixed up in my head. My bad. The only time, maybe not, is the 2016 hype when it first started, arguably. True. Okay, they didn't misquote me. We're good. Overwatch 2's Season 16 kicked off the next phase of Blizzard's grand scheme last week. It introduced newcomer Freya as its latest damage hero, with this week ushering in a mech-fueled Gundam collaboration. Future seasons are said to come with a Diva mythic skin, a Reaper mythic weapon, additional stadium characters, and more, and time will tell if that's enough to revive Overwatch to its former glory. Let me answer that for you. No. What is everything that has been currently happening, continuing to happen, keep moving forward. There's a few things that are going to be a little bit of like an up in the air, right? Stadium is really cool and fun right now. You got to remember, Stadium is like 16 characters, so there's a lot to do, a lot to play. How many characters are going to add every season? If they don't add, in my opinion, at least 3 a season, I think that's going to lose a lot of steam. 3 a season is the minimum. 1 tank, 1 DPS, 1 support would be ideal. I think they need a cinematics / an anime / like some kind of like Netflix series, whatever. They need to work on the brand image outside of the game itself. I think that some smaller things can be done, like bringing back battle passes and letting people earn rewards from previous battle passes. Hell, if you really want to make more money, let them buy the previous battle passes if you want. I think that you could also make an argument that there's going to be a new barrier or a new potential battle with Rivals in Season 3, I think, shifting to its once a month new hero format. I'm not saying Overwatch needs to do that. That sounds crazy. But Overwatch's schedule currently is every other season. A season's 9 weeks, so that's about every 18 weeks is a new hero. When your biggest competitor is pumping them out that quick, I would definitely keep an eye on how fast they're doing it, and if they're able to do it and it's done well, there could be an argument made that Overwatch might need to slightly pick up the pace with its hero releases, because what the hero releases are now is technically the same cadence as 2016. It's not any faster with a bigger team and with more people in a more modern setting. But they need to be, if they do that, they also need to be able to keep the polish and the consistency that it currently has, right? That would be a very difficult thing to do. Very, very difficult thing to do. But if you want to talk about improvements, fighting for a top spot, these are things you have to consider. You could argue against it, right? Like some people say like, oh, it might not be balanced, but like Overwatch's balance right now is a pretty good. I hate to say it, like whether you like it or not, it kind of is. And if you don't like something, you can ban it now, which is great. Rivals balance is horrendous in comparison. The only thing that held Rivals together is hero bans, and now Overwatch has hero bans. So it's like balance wise, it's a bajillion times better. Also, what Overwatch has going for it now is now the reputation of a competitive game. Overwatch is starting to develop the reputation as being a competitive game, which means they can be a little bit more aggressive with their balance. Rivals, for example, wants to be a quote casual game, and I think they're going to spin out really hard. And they've already kind of knee-jerk reaction to a lot of community sentiment, not even in the best way. There's still a lot to be said though on that front, but I do think that there's definitely a tone shift, and I'm very interested to see what in a few weeks / few months from now it looks like. But I'm still blown away that we're in a new timeline where there is a mostly positive Overwatch title on IGN, an IGN article, because these are typically hard drama farm. Overwatch sucks because Mercy players, I don't know, kicked puppies. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever read these before, they're typically a little out there. So, cool things to think about.